Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in today. So today I have one mission, and today it is to fulfill the title of this video and reveal the secrets of Kailash Mountain, also known as the Wall. All right, so what is Kailash Mountain? I'm going to tell you very quickly. First, we're going to take a quick look at it. I'm not creating this video to create any fancy effects for you. I'm just creating to give you the truth, pure and simple. It's the biggest truth you've ever heard and you've ever known about. You know, you think UFOs and aliens is big truth. This is way bigger, okay? Because this is important for UFOs and aliens too. Okay, but joking aside, let's take a couple seconds here. Give me a couple seconds. I have a picture of the mountain on my computer, and I'm going to show you this. And you can open that as well, coming from a YouTube findable photo. So this is Kailash Mountain right here. All right, Kailash Mountain. All right, and what you're looking at right now is also called the Wall of the gods and of God. Okay, and this is a story in many cultures, you know, including Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, Bon, other traditions hold this mountain to be the sacred mountain. It's in China, and you're not actually allowed to climb it either because it's considered so sacred to everyone. But what they don't tell you is the details that not everybody knows. So this video is going to tell you the secrets of this. Okay? So what you're looking at right here, and I've got a little pointer pen here where I'm going to show you, is first of all, look at this mountain right now. Look at it. Okay? Take a look at this picture and tell me, do you see anything that pops out to you on this mountain? Anything particular? Give it a couple seconds. I'm going to give you the big reveal now. Do you see any faces on the mountain? Like faces that have been carved into the mountain. Okay? Now I'm going to show you one. And once I show it to you, you'll see, oh my gosh. Right here. So this is the face right here. Here's the beard, the nose, the eyes, and actually two eyes here, another face here that's actually looking in another direction, which is the same person, but his face carved in another direction. Okay, so do you see that face now? Now I'm going to show you another one. Right here. Two eyes, the cheek, the nose, the mouth. Now I'm going to show you another one. Almost like a skull face here. An eye here, the mouth here. Now I'm going to show you another one. A flat head. A flat-topped head. And the face here that does a semicircle. A moon. And the body that goes like this. And thicker on the other side like this. And now I'm going to show you Shiva's drum, the Damaru. What I just showed you is Bara, by the way. And Bara, the story of the mountain is how Bara becomes Shiva, okay? And goes up the stream here that you see of the mountain, past everyone, to the top of the mountain, and becomes Adira, the judge. But what you also see here is Bara and his second head, which is the head of Baram. And then from the side, you see a scary face looking from the side here, this way. A triangular face like that, right? Okay. And so what you see here is once you see these faces, the first thing you should think right now is, why is it not mentioned anywhere in our culture that there are faces like this clearly on the mountain? Look at it now, the big face right that I just showed you first. Right? Because this is one of the biggest secrets, the biggest secret that's ever been kept and held. Okay? And I believe that things that affect everybody should be known in truth and should be known and shared with everybody. Okay? That's my way of seeing things. Everybody has a right to know. And it's fair for everyone to know. And it's right for everyone to know. Okay? So what is this? Since the beginning of humanity, okay, the first gods worshipped on the wall here, were worshipped here. The first god ever worshipped on the wall is Bara. the god I showed you underneath. Okay. And our ancestors, when society was very simple, called them Bara. And then when society became more complex, called him Baram. Baram. They added the M to his name. Right? And what he's the god who holds the Damaru of Shiva, which supports all of creation, right? Which supports the whole mountain, the center of the mountain, the base, the center. And the story is how Bara or Baram goes up the stream, past everybody up the stream, all the other deities, to the top, merges, becomes Shiva, and becomes Shiva Baram. Okay? So that's a fundamental story of creation. Another essential story of creation here is that this mountain is the pantheon of the gods of creation. Okay? But they were also created by God, their story, right? By God. And even when you look at Bara and Baram and the Damaru, and by the way, when Baram turns the Damaru upside down and stops it in the upside down position, that's the end of creation. That's the end of existence, right? That's the turning of the Damaru, right? And the Damaru makes the sound Bara, Bara, and then Baram, Baram, right? So anyways, that's just lore, that's story, that's history, right? That's just culture. So I think it's important that everybody knows this culture. So this is the wall. It's called the Kailash wall, the wall, commonly known, the wall of the gods. And each of the gods here represent different functions of creation. So as individuals, we're associated to certain individual or functions on the wall, right? As I am an avatar of Bara, or Baram, or Shiva Baram. Okay, and that's how I have this information, and I know this information. Okay, I'll show you more about what information I know, and just to give you a little bit more about that. Okay, so what a lot of people talk about the end of the Kali Yuga, and then the avatar Kalki will come in and bring in the new Yuga at the end of the Kali Yuga, and people say that's gonna be a long time. No, actually, it's actually happening right now, and these videos and all this is what's taking place, right? And you watching, everybody watching, and if you think this is important information, share it with everybody, and I'll show you what it's all about. Okay, hear more secrets being revealed soon. So what started the Kali Yuga actually is that if you look here, you have Karam at the top of the mountain here, the king basically of the mountain, but no one knew that there was people even higher than him. You can see other faces on top, but he had two children, two sons, one here, the eldest one and the youngest one. And what happened essentially is that his brother, who also is represented by Loki in many cultures, the trickster god right here, okay? And you can see he also has a face looking this way, a second face looking this way. Everybody has a second face, right? Okay, which is their real face, essentially, and their second real face. So anyways, what happened is him here, who represents the workers who were oppressed, basically, thought that he wanted to overthrow Karam, who's actually still a pretty stern guy, but not a bad person, but stern, okay? Sorry, let's do that here. So him wanted to overthrow him, and he convinced him to do it. And then he also convinced one of the sons to join in rebellion against his father. Okay? And this upset the creation of order of all things. So the other son here, who is responsible, the younger son, to restore order to creation, used his ultimate weapon, okay, which also meant the sacrifice of his life, to kill his brother. And they both died. And you can see here the effect of the weapon and the blast that it did on the mountain, right? You can see here this line here, like that, like something's blasted across the mountain. And you see that those two were blasted, right? And these people, and these here were injured or destroyed, the people that were here, okay? So that's the story there. So he got extremely mad. Him right away, he got out of the conflict, leaving him alone against him. And Garam punished him very, very much, and he suffered very much in punishment. And now there's an agreement that's been made that there will be no more punishment and all of this. But what was all of this event? What was all this? This was the beginning of the Kali Yuga, the era of darkness. Okay, and now we're entering into the new Yuga, the golden age, right? Where the peace has now been made, as Adira, the judge, has made the peace, confirmed the peace with everyone. As the story of Shiva Baram became Shiva, Shiva returned to Baram and basically tells the story, right? So this is the story of Kailash mountain. And when this happened, this conflict and the brothers against the brothers and all these, that was what triggered the Kali Yuga. And now that it's been revealed, these truths again, and that the gods on the mountain have decided to make peace, right? Maybe in a way to calm down Bara, who's remember Bara right here, and he has the Damaru of Shiva because he's Shiva Baram, which rests on his shoulder, and that's why this shoulder is wider than this shoulder here, right? And that's a story of Kailash, also known as Mount Meru in some cultures, religions, in Buddhism. Here I'm reciting a little bit from Wikipedia, so don't quote me on this. No, I'm just kidding. Wikipedia is great, right? We've talked about how Wikipedia, Google, and YouTube are tools to advance because they allow you to research concepts, So one thing you can research is Kailash Mountain, and you'll notice that nowhere does it talk about all the faces on Kailash Mountain. Somewhere it says basically that, there's a little residue of some paste of cement or something like that near the bottom of the mountain, right? But what about these people that are looking at you right now, right? Including our friend here. Pretty amazing, to have that on the mountain. So that's the story of the mountain, right? That's the story of Kailash. Let me just turn this, right? So really quickly, you kind of have to see it to believe it a little bit, okay? And basically, part of my story, my adventure, if you will, as myself, as Shiva, as an avatar, was rediscovering my place on the mountain and realizing that I don't need to make a place on the mountain. I already have a place on the mountain as Baram, as Shiva Baram. That's me. And that was my part of learning my place on the mountain so that I could share it with you, right? Give you that information as well. And I'm an artist as well, right? I like to paint and to make drawings, so it inspired me to make a couple series of collections that I call Bara of art. Here, give me a second. I'll show you one of them. And here we have this one here, which talks actually. The different series that I created talk about different things that are important to know for someone about creation. And then we have this one here, as you can see, this drawing here, right? So this one here talks about, it talks about how when you get to the river at the end of your life, the river of creation, the river of life, the river of chaos. It's chaos. A lot of people, they don't know what to do. Do they try to cross to the other side? Well, believe me or not, if you cross the other side, even if you get to the other side without falling into the water, succumbing to the waters, the storms, if you get to the other side, you won't even know what to do when you get there. Okay, believe me. That's why some people in Hinduism, for example, they practice rituals after death, so that if anybody gets to the other side, they can come back because they're stuck there. Okay, they were foolish enough to think that they could know better than take God's path. Okay, yogis are particularly hard-headed. Okay, so we hope that they remember that God is the way, right? And what you happen is when you pass away, when you die, you actually end up at the river, and that's one way of seeing things. Different cultures have different ways of seeing things, but that's where, for example, many of the people from the Hindu culture go. Okay, you end up at the river, and then at the river you're going to notice that, some people, a lot of people, they don't understand moksha properly, and they don't understand that that means enlightenment, freedom through enlightenment, right? The dissolution of the self in that sense. But it doesn't mean the dissolution of yourself by touching the water or jumping in the water of chaos and that ripping you apart and you cease to exist. And unfortunately, there's a lack of knowledge and understanding about what to do when you get to that moment. And because of that lack of understanding, there's people that are walking into the river basically and being dissolved, right? What you want to do is you want to take the beautiful bridge that's right there over the river, but when you get to the bridge, there's two very weird people that greet you, and they're weird because they're kind of disguised, but who they really are, they're archangels. One of them is the archangel of death, and the other one's his assistant, another angel. Okay, and they greet you at the bridge when you get to the river, and they tell you, if you take this bridge, you will be judged. Right? So you will be judged. And then that's the bridge where you have to have faith and take the knowledge and know you will be judged, but you will be judged by God, right? And you'll be judged even if you jump into the river, right? There's no escaping the judgment of God in life, but one way brings you to a dissolution, but one way brings you to a celebration and joy and continuation and growth of life forever, right? And I think that that's an interesting alternative to jumping in the river, right? So just little things like that I can share, right? Since we're talking. All right, so thanks for listening, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.